looks like you got some sand being blown up here.
Yeah. Road.
Yeah, maybe someone's driven down or something. No, it's blown across the road here.
No, there's a road over there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is but notice how much dirt's coming across.
Yeah. The thing perhaps to watch here, that stuff doesn't fix itself very quickly, so if you damage it, it might well stay damaged. Remember reading about that in Death Valley. That there are wagon tracks from people crossing the country.
Yeah.
In the 18th century that are still there. White or something.
Well, we must have got phone reception again.
GPS signal lost.
much distance out of you.
Yeah.
I was sure I was well ahead. Could have just dropped back. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Big pile of something.
Big pile of dirt. 2 big piles of dirt. The Republic Service Company. They love these American flags.
Yep. You might be in doubt where you were otherwise.
Well, yes, it could be, I suppose.
I might be in Canada.
Could be. I wonder what it is that they're digging up there. Shit, there's a lot to do. Yeah, long distance guard the people. The Eagle Scout's the top end system.
Yeah, I think so. Why's that?
Oh, he's got. I'm proud of my Eagle Scouts on the bumper. I'll ask Fiona; she'll know.
Yeah. But that's the gist I get of it is they've got Cub Scouts and Eagle Scouts, and we have Cub Scouts and Rovers, isn't it? Or something like that.
Yes. Yeah. And adventurers are in there somewhere as well.
Oh, maybe they've got I could imagine they'll have the same format, just might have a different name for that, because I reckon Eagle is related to American Eagle, Bald Eagle or something.
Yeah. I can't do Royal.
Yeah. What's that?
But like a fairly extensive ruin.
Yeah.
That's substantially constructed.
Yeah.
So look at that going, okay.
Someone's put a lot of effort in.
There might have been a mine up there at some stage.
Yeah.
Oh, it's still got power going to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
But there is a hole in the wall up there, isn't there?
oh, the power doesn't go very far.
No, but in the
Yes.
wall it looks like an entry point or something.
There's nothing else with it. So you might be right. Could be a crusher, because I saw one light. Quarry ahead of us. Another big pile of rock. Segment of permaculture that deals with arid country. Is that what they do in
There's an
Australia?
airport.
Yeah. Seems to me that they build buildings that are inappropriate for the place.
Yeah.
In mile, turn right onto US 95 North, Main Street, signs for Tonopah.
Donkeys. This place. Oh, there's donkeys. Get the camera out. There we go. It's not every day you see a donkey warning sign and then see donkeys.
Plurals. Maybe pregnant female.
Looks like a containerised hotel.
Yeah. Atomic Inn.
It's a horse sculpture.
Oh, yeah, he's smart. Exchange Club.
I don't know what this is meant to be.
How do you mean?
Like notice all fence posts things going up.
Yeah, well, they built a resort, hotel, casino, except they never did.
They started with the fence.
They just never did.
The palm trees look very authentic, like native.
Yes.
Their origin is like Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
So they talk about how much trade's been brought in or potentially walked in. You know, something that they walked in and planted.
It's an interesting thing because the question I would ask is, why aren't there date palms all the way from the coast?
Well, yeah, that's another interesting part of it too, isn't it? Or, you know, I don't know the answer to it, but they're saying that now worked out they've been there for 30,000 years. And, you know, whether it was the conditions there were good enough, that they just anywhere.
Further north in the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
And if they were brought in by the Aboriginals, I'd expect to see them at every spring.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, they might have gone out of fashion.
Yeah.
Oh, except for New Zealand. So different.
It's everything else we've seen so far.
Just got a little tiny bit of greenness.
Yeah.
And like this is quite green.
Yeah. And there was a place called Billy's Hot Springs back there.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's like a natural aquifer type thing around here that's of Americans talk about how it reminds them of bits of Arizona and Nevada. So
Yeah.
too, isn't it? Like we've travelled through a few places. Yeah, so the road I was going to drive on my other trip, like the last one, was the 395, which runs up through Bishop and stuff and goes right up to the Canadian border.
Mines.
Yeah.
So this is a nice big flat area that looks like it just drained down there.
But you're right, there's, you know, a different clumpy.
Oh yes. So no substantial trees here now. And
yeah, we haven't seen a Joshua tree for a few hours.
And when you get down to it, poorer vegetation. And like it. wonder how electricity companies go out here maintaining this lot, because it's a long way between consumers.
Yeah, that's right. What's that?
Well, we talked about the cumulus and the way sometimes it'll just sit above some trigger point.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the one up here. It's got those eddies
Yeah.
on it. So I'm thinking, so what's going on? So I looked and thought, okay, so what's happening is that the cloud, it looks like there is air flowing, and the cloud's still, and so that would form an eddy on the edge, right? So I'm looking at that going, okay, so then sort of blindingly obvious, if you've got a still cloud and you clearly got no shortage of wind at the moment, then you get those eddies on the edge, because that's what's happening. Like the air in it is relatively still because it's just rising. It's not part of that wind.
There's in them?
Yeah. I don't know why you've got three left. I mean, several of them seem like they've got. I think the thing that was built out of brick was probably a more conventional
like the old phone exchange.
Yeah, and probably out here repeaters.
Yeah.
Nice little area that's sheltered.
Yeah.
There's green in there, but by the time it gets out to the highway, nearly all the moisture's gone. The extra. About that woman in the cafe.
Yeah.
Were girls really that dumb then? Yep. There were probably fewer Sicilians in America at the time.
Yeah.
And they didn't write songs.
One thing I like is when you're driving at the speed limit, you tend just to get past. You're not,
Yeah.
you know, not getting stuck places. Looks like an old servo or something. Over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then this looks like a house. Bit of garden. Might go to Shady Lady bed and breakfast.
GPS signal lost.
You're on the edge of nowhere. But when I look at it, I don't understand how you could lose the GPS these days.
Oh, you've lost the signal, tower signal. Is what they're really saying.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
But it's not a GPS signal.
it's not a GPS signal, is it? No.
I think the GPR is.
So it's really something that's being read. Yeah. Yes, you've got to get well. I hope it's easier. But I can remember when we were on the yacht, there were places where the GPS was not particularly reliable because you could sometimes only get one satellite.
Yeah.
And sometimes there might be parts of the day, depending on where you were, where coverage didn't exist and you'd have to wait. Fortunately, it had a fairly reasonable dead reckoning for a few hours.
Yeah.
Otherwise we could have been forced to navigate. God. Right. We don't want a free room there.
God, there's some miserable looking places out here.
Sorry?
There's some miserable looking places out here.
Well, yes, I sort of look at this as a little bit like the highest reaches of a beach, right? This is the last detritus that gets washed anywhere.
Yeah.
Sort of like a modern Old West.
Well, you know, they still make movies where people are living in these sorts of fucking things out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's dusty and windy and not hospitable. And, you know, when you're driving around here, you can see how that fits with the reality here. So there's another road down to Death Valley.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Death Valley. I suppose we'll stop in Goldfield for a coffee or something.
Yeah.
About half an hour away, so. Oh. Dogs for Better Lives have passed us again.
Things to do, places to go.
feels so much easier than yesterday and the day before.
Okay.
Yeah, because like it's just this is the bit of driving I generally.
Because you've just basically got to get from point to point.
Yeah. But I mean, when you go out, like, so one of the things I did in 2018 after I saw you,
yeah,
was I started just driving and Googling a place a few hours down the road.
Yeah.
Drive, and I'd take a drive and go, oh, that looks interesting, so I'll go there. So I was broadly going in a westerly direction coming back.
Yeah.
And southwesterly, but I thought I want to go across the top a bit because I really wanted to get to North Dakota because I'd heard that no one goes there.
Yeah.
So I went to North Dakota and I wanted to go to Yellowstone and I got there and then the fucking camera didn't work properly and then but I found that very attractive, that drive down from there. And the drive round in the snow and stuff in last April and May, that was really pretty. It's quite spectacular, a bit like Fargo though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd been reading about some places where, like, the snow lasts until May and starts in September.
Yeah. Notice I don't seem to have the road markers like, in Australia, that goldfields down to that G or something,
Yeah.
mile marker to it. They don't seem to have that here. I think they did on the coast. I think I've seen them in a few places, but Nevada, it's quite, like it's got a lot of really remote bits in it.
Yeah. I don't want to depress you by telling you there's still 1,000 miles to go.
Yeah.
You've been driving all day already.
That's a funny sort of shape, isn't it? These bit of a tabletop mountain.
Oh, well, you're in an eroded plateau.
Yeah.
So you see the top stuff is lava,
Yeah.
and this stuff here, as far as I can tell, is almost all sedimentary. So what's happened is that at one stage
GPS
this
signal
would
lost.
probably have been relatively flat,
Yeah.
and it's eroded. You see that in Australia. There's a classic one on the way from Melbourne to Bendigo or Ballarat. You go through a place called Bacchus Marsh.
Yeah.
It's in a valley. And
Oh,
the
there's
top's,
Joshua trees again.
yeah, so maybe more water or something else.
Yeah. They've just started to reappear.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I reckon we've had 2 hours without them at all. They're not like they were down
No.
near the Grand Canyon where they were really thick, but they're here.
Some particular quirk of the climate. Well, one of the things is these are sheltered.
Yeah.
because we've just gone over the ridge. So they're and I do find this stuff is really interesting where there's Joshua trees here, and you can see they're running out. We've run out of them next to the highway.
Yeah.
We're starting to run out of them over there.
Yeah.
And that suggests, well, I don't know what this suggests at all, because that doesn't seem to me to be anything to do with water.
Well, it might have been clearing too with farmers, I suppose.
It could have been, I suppose.
Because you know these areas are fenced, or that side is anyway.
Yeah, this is. So when I look at it, I think, you know, I don't know where the stock is, but it's not here.
Yeah. Doesn't mean in the past they didn't try.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I guess the principal issue here is there's no bloody water, there's no surface water for them.
Yeah.
So if they're going to be around, they'll be down there somewhere.
Yeah.